Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today we are celebrating Meggy's 5-year YouTube-iversary, and this page was done by her and I am scrap lifting it. So I decided to start with a little mixed media, and I went to my Dilutions paints or sprays, which I have not used in, I can't even tell you how long, and I am just going to go ahead and spray those on this paper. This is the Vicki Boutin mixed media paper, and this is the original first go-around that they did with it, and you can see at the top there the little divot in the paper from the hole they drilled to hang the pad for merchandising purposes. So it's not a true 12 by 12 if you count or if you don't want that hole to show. So I will be trimming it down to fit on this black paper, and I'm going to go ahead and gut this paper and use this paper to back my photos, just like she had her photos backed in black as well. I went ahead and sprayed the paper with Dilutions paint in London Blue and Cut Grass. So they're super bright, super bold. And then I had these two cards, and I think they're from Cocoa Daisy. I'm not 100% sure on that because I'm not a Cocoa Daisy subscriber, but I believe I got these from somebody who is a Cocoa Daisy subscriber, and I knew I wanted to use a portion of those two cards as the three banners that span behind the photos in the original layout. Off camera, I will take my layout over to my sewing machine and stitch all the way around the border of it in black thread, and I'm going to stitch the banner pieces as well. They're not going to be backed with black thread. I can't talk today, I'm a little bit tongue-tied. And so I wanted to go ahead and give them a little bit of a black pop to tone down the brightness of everything that's going to be going on this layout. So I thought the stitching would fit the bill perfectly on that, and it adds a lot of texture as well, so that's what I did. I decided not to use the card on the left hand side that has the peacock on it. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the rainbow striped one. It's rainbow striped on one side and it's got the floral on the other. So I'm going to cut that up. The center banner piece is going to be out of the striped portion, and the two other pieces, the upper and lower piece, will be out of the floral. And I went ahead and measured just to kind of get an idea of what I thought she did on her layout. I know it doesn't have to be exact, but I want the proportions to be somewhat similar. I really liked her layout, and I liked that it was actually really a simple layout, but it doesn't look simple when you're just at first glance. And I think it's beautiful, and it came out really, really nice on hers, so I'm hoping mine comes out the same way. I'm just measuring to mark the center of each of these pieces so that I can make sure that I get the fishtails lined up accordingly. I can do that with a square punch, or you can freehand it if you don't have a square punch or you don't want to measure. I tend to get them kind of off balance if I don't measure, so that is why I measured for this particular layout, and that's not something I do all the time. So now I've got these stitched, and I'm going to pull the threads through the back because I don't want those hanging. Sometimes I leave them hanging, but not very often. I tend to like a little bit of the clean look rather than the messy look, and I think having the threads hanging was a little bit too much just for my own eye. I do like it so much on other people's layouts though, so maybe one day I'll get there. Now I realized that my pieces of banner are not long enough, and that was intentional. I knew they didn't really need to be as long as to span the entire photograph. I can just cut them in half and have them stick out each side, and that worked out perfectly for me because the papers that I cut them out were just 6 by 8, and I wanted the stripes to go the direction that you see there on the screen, horizontally, not vertically. So in order to do that, I had to cut it in the 6-inch direction rather than the 8-inch direction. So I don't mind cutting them in half. You're not going to see that anyway. Just go ahead and bridge the gap without anybody knowing that they're cut in the middle behind. So I am inking these in Black Soot Distress ink just to give an additional little bit of pop and to differentiate between the background pieces and the banner pieces, and everything on this layout is pretty much going to be inked in that Black Soot Distress ink. I also threw a little bit of the adhesive, this Tonic Deluxe adhesive, behind each of those pieces because it is mixed media. Now, granted, it is just a spray mist, but things don't stick as well when there's mixed media involved, and I wanted to make sure it would stick. And then each of the banner pieces, I am popping them up onto some foam tape just to give it a little extra dimension. And the pieces that I'm adding in right now, the little tabs, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add the foam tape to the top of them so that they kind of pop up a little bit off the page. And I'll do the same to that little piece in the bottom right hand side that says weekend. Now the photos are of my daughter around age 9. She was participating in a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream with a local group here called San Jose Youth Shakespeare, and they do a full production. She played Cobweb. She had a very small role in it, but she had to be at all of the rehearsals and of course the dress rehearsal and all of that good stuff and all of the performances. So this is the only production that she ever participated in. Stage was not her first love, but she did enjoy it while she was there. She enjoyed the camaraderie between all of the people involved, and the age group was quite a large age group. I think they were from 8 to 19 years old, and it was actually, they do an incredible job of putting these productions together, especially given their age, and the Shakespeare's really just not the easiest thing to do, but it really gave her a good understanding of the play, and she really enjoyed it while she was there. So anyway, I am now putting a little bit of adhesive on these cute letters from Freckled Fawn. I love these letters. I've used them on several layouts, but I'm finding that I've had them quite a while and they are starting to curl up a little bit on the edges, and I don't want to lose them off of this layout. And especially since there's a little bit of mixed media, I want to make sure they stay. So I'm just adding a little dab of glue behind the edges of them so that they don't fall off in my page protector. And then I had a few embellishment pieces from this same paper that I've used, and they're flower pieces, and then obviously that little weekend piece. And I'm going to use those to just add a little bit of embellishments in the upper left hand corner and the lower right hand corner. And while I figure out what I want to say on this layout, I know that there's this blank space at the top of the photo. There's not a ton of room, but these letters are small, so I thought maybe I could put Midsummer Night's Dream, and I find that Midsummer Night's Dream is just too much. It ends up coming down too low and over the girls' faces. So I will end up just using Night's Dream, and then on the tabs that I'm going to add to the top there, I will just handwrite Midsummer. So it will read Midsummer Night's Dream, but it just won't be all out of these Freckled Fawn letters. And I really like how on Meggy's original layout, she had the title over the top photo as well, and she did have big letters. I didn't really have a word that I wanted to place extra emphasis on, so I just used the same letters throughout, with the exception of Midsummer because it was so long. The other issue that I had with the spacing for the title was the ascenders and descenders of all three words were starting to get crammed together because of the limited amount of space that I had. So that kind of also forced me to rethink how I was going to put the words down. I'm just using this craft foam. It's just fun foam from Walmart, super cheap stuff, and you can see I've used it for another project there, and I'm just using the remnant piece. There are several of us participating in this YouTube hop celebrating Meggy's 5-year YouTube-iversary. That's really hard to say. It's kind of a mouthful. But look down below in my comments and go check out all of the other talented ladies that are participating. This has been a really fun hop and a really fun way to celebrate all of the things that Meggy has brought to her YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber to her, go ahead and check her out, and I really highly encourage you to subscribe. She's wonderful and her layouts are really outstanding and she's a lot of fun. So check it out and check out the other ladies down below. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love for you to subscribe and to like if you like this video as well. As we get back to the embellishing up here, I have cut apart this little piece that you see me placing right there. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the other end of it, but I am going to end up using it in the same little cluster as a secondary piece of or sprig of leaves that are going to stick out. And don't be afraid to cut your embellishments up a little bit if you need to make them work in more than one place on your layout. Anything that's tucked down behind you can't tell anyway, so you might as well go ahead and use them if you need to. And I had very limited amount of what I could use from this particular Cocoa Daisy selection because I don't subscribe to them, so I don't have a lot of stuff. I just had a few pieces here and there, and I wanted to make them span, you know, from the upper right to down, or upper left to the lower right. And I didn't have to add a whole lot down in the lower right just because I felt like the little hanging banner that says weekend really just was plenty down there. I do add a green puffy heart and some sequins, and you're going to see that coming up in just a few minutes here. The sequins, I'm not exactly sure where I got them from. They're unlike a lot of the other ones that I've seen. They are really cupped. A lot of the ones that you get from kit clubs and made specifically for scrapbooking are more flat, but these ones are really cupped and they're iridescent, and they worked really well with this particular background, and you'll see those in the close-ups. And then the foam hearts, I think those are just recollections, something really simple. They came in several different bright colors, and I bought a package and cut them apart and threw the green ones in my green embellishment box, and it worked out great. And this little piece here that I'm trying to place doesn't make the cut, and as I go ahead and put my sequins down, that's pretty much going to do it. And stick around for the close-ups. They're coming up in just a few moments here. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. See you next time.